Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, sharpshooters. My name is Deadshot, host of Warframe Mornings over on Twitch. And today we are back again with another build video. This week we are featuring Excalibur Umbra. We will be featuring an electrical build with him as melee influence is way overpowered. And jumping straight into it, we are going to be starting out with Steel Charge in the aura. Gives us a little bit of extra melee damage, as we're going to be using Excalibur as our main source of boosting the melee damage for his exalted weapon. We're going to be utilizing Chromatic Blade so that we have control over the element of his blade. In this case, we will be using, I think, purple or blue, one of the two, to give him shock. And that beautiful electrical status chance. And then we'll be using Eternal War as our subsume is going to be Warcry. And I really don't like having to recast my abilities because that's boring. So we'll be using Eternal War with a little bit of duration so that we can ensure that we're not having to recast our main melee damage buff, if you will. This is going to basically buff our DPS and our survivability. Prime Flow for a little bit of extra energy pool. Blind Rage and Umbral Intensify for our ability strength, Equilibrium for the energy to health and health to energy conversion, and then Umbral Vitality to help boost the effects of Intensify. With Warcry, we should be getting a little bit of extra armor as well. I did a calculation earlier and it works out to being somewhere around 715 armor off of the base of 315. So I mean, it works out to being a pretty good damage reduction. I think that's somewhere around 60 to 70%, which is pretty lovely. Then moving on to his Archon shards, we have 2 for casting speed and 3 for the ability damage on enemies afflicted by electric status effects, and that is of course a multiplicative addition to our damage. So that's going to take our damage from the Exalted Umbra Blade much further. And then of course we're going to be utilizing the Miter with 3 specific mods that are going to be doing all of the carrying for us right now, or sorry, for this build. And that's going to be Neutralizing Justice so that we can try and make sure that those bubbles are not an issue. Amalgam Serration for the sprint speed. Multi-shot to help make sure that we pop those bubbles more effectively, and then Primary Dexterity for the combo duration. That's going to kind of be the theme here, as we're also going to be using that same arcane on our secondary, and both of those arcanes again on our arch gun, which is going to help give us a 30-second combo duration on our melee, which is pretty overpowered. The other things we're going to be utilizing from this build is going to be Amalgam Barrel Diffusion for the dodge speed, and then Augur Pact and Seeker for the energy spent to shields. Nothing else really matters when it comes to the epitaph. And then of course we have the lovely Praedos, which have now been nicknamed the Velocitas, which is basically velocity in Latin. Fun fact. And this is only for 2 reasons. One is its 2nd evolution, which will be using sprint speed and slide, and its 4th evolution, which will be parkour velocity. And then finally, for Excalibur in all of his glory, is going to be his Exalted Blade. Crit chance is going to kind of be the focus. Blood Rush, Gladiator Might, crit chance, crit damage. Elementalist to give us that extra status damage and extra status chance. Faction multiplier, because faction multipliers are multiplicative and double dip. And then reach for a little bit of extra range, even though melee influence kind of negates that by a fair bit. As this gives a 20% chance to afflict the elemental status effects to other enemies within 20 meters, which is pretty busted. And for our purposes, we have to go with and we're going to be doing the survival. And our companion of choice is going to be Nautilus Prime, with a simple shield regeneration build, as we are going to have Shield Charger for the extra shield capacity and shield regeneration, and Guardian for the boost when it runs out. Prime Regen to help bring him back, Animal Instinct for the loot radar and enemy radar, synth deconstruct and fiber for the health orb generation and health orb pickups. Tenacious bond for the final crit damage multiplier, because that's always useful. Repair kit to keep our companion alive a little bit longer, and then coolant leak just helps keep our enemies slowed down and helps with our crowd control. And one factor I did forget to mention about Excalibur Umbra is we're going to be utilizing Arcane Energize. This is going to help with our energy income and make sure that we keep our energy topped up. And then Arcane Fury, as this is going to help increase our melee damage further. Like I said, all of our melee damage base increases are going to be coming from the frame, not on our weapon. As we can then utilize our weapon for more other things, or sorry, for other things like healing and our crits. All right, without further ado, let's get into the gameplay of this build. Pop over to Lua, come here. And to the highest level mission in solo. I made sure to switch it this time before recording. For the cinematic, we don't care. Cast the blade, which does very little at first.
The Orichan Neural Sentry is attempting to,
but we'll do a lot more once we can start stacking up.
Life support.
From the energies, there we go. There's our war cry. And then we can use slash dash to get in a little bit closer to our enemies. Make sure they die a little bit quicker. As slash dash can also proc melee influence, because it's still doing the damage with the exalted blade. We are also using the Matterized skill tree, so we can use power transfer and sling strength. Pin your void slings, transfer back in, and now we have all that extra damage. Recast everything because there's no extra damage. And how we can do it here.
All manner of Orichan technology may work here due to the circular.
That was just in time, yeah.
If you have a necromech, you may use it.
Now we have all the strength. And you can basically just shred your enemies. It's a lot of fun. Very simple build, very easy to put together. All you need is a spare Valkyr, which I'm pretty sure Valkyr is easy to get. And you have yourself a very effective steel path build for Excalibur. The Excalibur typically is a really good warframe for early game, right? For normal star chart, and usually doesn't transfer very well into steel path. But for this build, it transfers incredibly well. You can see there's no need for like the Vazarin skill tree or anything like that. We got lots of combo duration. You can just run around cutting to pieces. Use Radial Javelin as a bit of a crowd control as well to help keep your enemies stunned. Give you a little bit of space if you need it. And the reason why I subsumed off Radial Howl is specifically because of that. When you do a slide attack with the Exalted Blade, it gives you a stun. It gives you a mini Radial Howl, basically. So we can take advantage of that, get a little quick stun in there, and then lay into your enemies, and they're basically done for. And it comes out incredibly quick, and it comes out a lot faster than the Radial Howl would. So it just kind of felt a little redundant. But yeah, it takes out hordes of enemies. It's a lot of fun, especially when you use those faction damage multipliers. Use them. They are important. I know that they get overlooked by a lot of early game players because it feels like a waste of a mod slot, or you don't want to swap out your gear constantly. And like, it's understandable. It's understandable, but if you understood just how much extra damage you're losing, it kind of changes your mind about the way that faction damage multipliers work, or their usefulness. And especially once you get up into Steel Path, it is super important that you try to take advantage of basically any weakness that you can possibly exploit. Because if you don't, the enemies are just going to turn you inside out. I think Torment's going to turn me inside out. No, I'm going to win. I'm going to win! Healing return, do your work. And this is also the reason why we use healing return, is because you're dealing with so many status effects. You basically can't die. Every instance in that 20 meters that it procs is healing. So even if they're damaging your health directly, you're sitting there with like a 60 to 70% damage reduction. And the healing return, which is 11 health per status effect of affecting the enemy. And we can inflict quite a few different status effects.
But if you need to leave, extraction is ready.
No, I'm gonna die. Don't do that. Those guys, and we'll get out of here.
That risk now. Destroy these void-stained enemies.
So if anyone was wondering, how do I make Excalibur Umbra actually useful in Steel Path? How do I make him more survivable? That would be the way to do it, even though I'm exiting this mission with less than half my health. That being said, I do hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I do hope that you guys take it and try it out for yourselves. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But this is gonna wrap it up from me. I do hope you guys have a wonderful day or night, and I will see you guys in the next video.